Hey everyone, well, welcome to the STEERus Weekly Grind virtual coffee chat. And with us today, we've got Dr. Todd Smith, who is a serial entrepreneur. And his latest endeavor is called biotechcareers.org. Plus, he's involved in digital world biology, but we'll talk about that in just a bit. We're going to focus here on biotech careers. Hey, Todd, welcome.
Hey, Loralyn, it's good to see you again. You know, last time we tried this, you were asking me about storm chasing, and then your power went out.
Yeah, it was pretty creepy. I mean, it was 3 minutes into the recording, and then Hurricane Elsa said, "You're not going to have power today. We're taking it away from you," and that was that. So we're not going to talk about storm chasing today. We're going to talk about biotechcareers.org and Dr. Todd Smith. How about you give us a little bit on both?
Yeah, so well, let's start with biotechcareers.org. So it's a website that really was designed for people to engage in career exploration. So the target was largely community college students and people who were thinking about getting into the industry, but I don't have an advanced degree. I don't have a master's. I don't have a PhD. And what are the technical jobs like? And so this started in 2012 around that mission. What do technical jobs look like? Who's in technical jobs? The different areas of biotechnology where those technical jobs fit. And so we have a variety of job descriptions. We have a variety of areas that they fall into. And then we have also what we call alumni profiles. So these are day in the life interviews that we do, people at their place of work, taking pictures, things like that. And that was 2012. And then fast forwarding it to 2016 or so, I got involved with the project, and we'll get into my background in just a minute. But I got involved in we had a survey, and one of the questions was, what companies are in our area? And I thought, that's a good question. So I went out and I found some resources, and I was able to gather 4,000 or 5,000 companies, and we built a database. And since then, it's grown to about 8,500 companies that work in biotechnology. Wow. And what's really interesting is we have about 500 keywords that we use to categorize these companies. So you can get a list of 300 synthetic biology companies, but you could, within that list, of that 300, you could get a list of 43 synthetic biology companies that work specifically on food. So this is the new food, the new beef that doesn't come from cows. It's grown in laboratories, or it's made from plants, things like that. And so together with these 500 queries, we have just a lot of ways to slice and dice this data. And so that adds another dimension, and we tie that into the careers. And then just recently, this year, we've started to add job boards. I showed biotech careers to people, and they go, "Where are the jobs?" So we've done some integrations with some major job board groups, and then we're also posting jobs for partners. And so altogether, you've got this soup to nuts exploration from what do the jobs look like, to who does the jobs, to where could the jobs be. And then links throughout. You can go to a job board and maybe you find something you like, and you can just go and apply. So that's Biotech Careers. And and I got into it because I've been in biotech for over 30 years now. That's the gray hair, I like to say. And one path I got into this was, I went through kind of a traditional. I got my bachelor's. I took a break and I worked in biotech as a technician, so I can speak to those parts. And then I went back to school and got a PhD in medicinal chemistry, and then started a bioinformatics company. And that's how we met many years ago. And that company, we did genetic analysis systems, both laboratory and analysis for a lot of DNA sequencing and microarrays and those kinds of things. So, with all of that experience, we sold the company to Perkin-Elmer in 2011, and then I left in 2013, and that's how I got involved with the things I'm doing today.
Well, excellent. So with this weekly chat, we're really focused on, what's changing, what's shifting, how are HR people and leaders trying to work to try to engage more students, engage more employees, bring that new talent, because we know the Great Resignation, is upon us, and recruiting is getting to be a little competitive. So a few questions, Todd, that we like to ask here on the Weekly Grind. First question, what do you think it is that students, and especially those younger employees, are really struggling with right now, or even the employers, because you really represent both sides with your platform?
Yeah, and these conversations. So I work in a world of community colleges that focus really on workforce education. So biotech, advanced manufacturing, a lot of these different kinds of areas, and similar themes come up. It doesn't matter if you're going into automotive engineering or aerospace or cybersecurity or biotechnology. There's an element of what we call hard skills. In my world, do you know how to pipette? Do you know how to be careful at the bench? Do you know how to work with some computer systems? But employers like that. But you know what they really want? They want what we call the soft skills. They want people that know how to come to work on time. They want people need to have positive attitudes. In any kind of industry, there's a lot of churn and change. You can just imagine with the past year and a half with COVID, in particular in biotech. You could come into a company one day, they could call an all hands meeting and say, we're going to start developing COVID tests, and there you have it. And in Biotech Careers, we have a page that has 600 companies who many were on one path, and then they pivoted into seeing what they could do to help through this pandemic. So the soft skills are thinking, creatively, and these are hard things to teach, right? They want people who have open minds. They want to have people who have integrity and ethics, and okay, I have a job. What does that mean, right? Those kinds of things. And so that's really a lot of the conversation has been about that. And a theme that comes up a lot is lifelong learning, right? Mm-hmm. So you enter the workforce today, we talk about careers, and careers are a funny thing because my career path, right? I went to college. I said, okay, I need a break. I went and worked in industry. I worked in 3 different places. I went back to school. I got an advanced degree, and then I ended up starting a company, and now I'm doing these websites. So what is a career? It's a journey, right? But through that, you have to be learning all the time.
It is. And you and I are like 2 lifelong learners, for sure. It's constantly, it's like, especially around software and things, what new tool or thing can I learn today? Tell us about what initiatives you're hearing about from some of these companies that are really focused on trying to overcome some of these struggles. They were saying they're not seeing the professionalism. We know now, new statistics have just come out where 30%, over 30%, 31% of people in the last few months are ghosting their new employer, right? We're talking about more than 40%. These aren't my estimates. These are by the analysts. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. By the end of the year, 40% of people will turn over in the American businesses in which they're currently employed. What things are you aware of that people are doing to try to, stem the tide?
Well, we're seeing it in some areas. You see it in the news, right? So all of a sudden, people are talking less about the egregiousness of a $15 an hour minimum wage, and they're starting to say maybe we should be paying $20. So in some aspects, like the restaurant industry, which has been fairly notorious, for want of a better term, for just not a pleasant place to work, hour shifting, things like that. So one is just, standardizing and being more humane in terms of how you deal with people. In the biotech area, what we're seeing is the need for, in manufacturing in particular, if you want to make a lot of vaccine doses or something like that, you actually need a lot of people. And it's a struggle in some areas. You hear these stories of people that they're going to have shifts. They're going to have, there's going to be requirements that people might not be prepared to take on, but they need to do that. Now, with those statistics, I will say there's also a lot of good people that are showing up and advancing and doing great things. So
and working hard.
Working hard.
There's a ton of that. But now back to the soft skills that you were talking about. Which soft skill do you wish people had more of?
So I'm going to put it in the bucket of creativity. And what does that mean? You can't sit down and tell people to be creative. Well, you can, but you might not get very interesting ideas. So it's a curiosity, right? So by that, what do people who are creative and curious do? Is they're working on a problem and they might explore dimensions of that problem. So I work a lot with software and software engineers. And how do you find things on the web? A lot of times you can formulate a question and you can find a lot of answers. How do you evaluate those? How do you do micro tests? Something's not working right. It's just little tweaks that you do to be curious and explore. And it comes to soft skills too. Another thing people want is for people to ask questions, to actually communicate at work. Yeah, I see something that doesn't seem right. Is this me, or is it something that's not right? A lot of times it's something that's not right, and employers really want to hear about that. And so that's kind of that curiosity, that creativity, that you're not just taking instructions and following those instructions and then delivering a successful product. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So employers should be really fostering creativity and curiosity and saying to their employees, hey, here's an opportunity. Ask me questions, ask each other questions, and really trying to encourage that where there's some space within meetings or whatever else, rather than like, boom, let's get to it. Here's the agenda. Boom, 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 boom. Knock it out. Great. But have some of that time for thinking time and creativity.
Oh, indeed. And in fact, in the community college world that I participate in, not only do these discussions come up, NSF funds groups to work on ideas. And so we have a colleague, Karen Young and James. I always draw a blank when I don't, it'll come to me. But they're at City College in San Francisco, and they have a project that deals with both sides of the problem, right? So how do you teach the students who are going to be the technicians to be more proactive in getting feedback and understanding that they're meeting the objectives of the job? But then also, how do you teach the supervisors to work with them on that? So a lot of their students go to the University of California system to work as technicians, and a lot of the supervisors are postdocs. And if any of the audience knows anything about getting a PhD, about the last thing you ever learn is how to manage.
That's right.
So this program is really educating both groups. And by doing that, you create a better product in terms of the relationship, and then the science advances, and a lot of good things come from it.
Yeah, that's clear. That's very much a philosophy at STEERus. Not only that talent development of the entry-level talent, but it's those who are receiving that entry-level talent. And those are the emerging leaders that need to better understand how to work with that entry-level talent. You got to have both sides, because
exactly.
You can't communicate otherwise. It's like you're not speaking the same language.
Yeah.
So what's your message for educators and trainers regarding the support of this next crop of students that are coming up and coming through?
Well, I think we mentioned some of these themes. So it's just not a problem for the students to learn how to address the workforce and their skill and career development. It's also very important for the employers to understand their role in getting the best out of people, right? And I think both sides need continual education and coaching to get there.
And conversation. They need
conversation. Yeah. When I think about like my career development, these days one of my activities, I'm an entrepreneur mentor at the University of Washington. And I participate in a lot of workshops and things that are designed to help the new entrepreneurs, right? But through that, I get a lot of coaching in being an entrepreneur. And it's that continual feedback and conversation and participation that really adds strength. So everyone needs to be a lifelong learner.
I agree. So, and maybe this is already answering the next question. So in a couple of words, or one word even, fill in the blank. The world needs more
learners.
Okay. Well, thank you, Todd. Now, where can our audience find you and your work online? How do they get in touch with you?
So 3 ways. biotech-careers.org, or just Google Biotech Careers. You can also find our work at innovatebio.org, innovatebio.org, or digitalworldbiology.org. Just type Digital World Biology and you'll find us. And you can reach me. You can find me on LinkedIn and follow me and click that message and send me a note.
And then the magic happens. You respond.
And the magic
right?
happens.
Don't ghost people, because like that's been my beef lately. Just don't ghost me. Don't
Yes, I try not to, but we do get requests on Biotech Careers that say things like, I want job. Those don't get replied to.
Well, it's kind of hard to help, right? It's like, well, here's some tools. Use our tools, and that'll help you on the path.
Exactly.
Right
Some
there.
background, some interest in a job, and we'll tell you what we can and can't do.
Well, fantastic. Thank you so much, Todd, for being part of our STEERus Weekly Grind here, and we look forward to sharing this with our whole audience.
All right. Well, I enjoyed it, and I'm glad we got through it without any hurricanes.